What is up, you guys? How is it going? I'm Aeolus, and yes, this is my face. I decided to throw it on some videos, maybe see how it goes, if I like it, stuff like that. So for those guys who like seeing my face, you're welcome. And for those of you guys who are like, oh my god, gross, I'm sorry. It's okay, just ignore the fact that I really desperately need a haircut, but man god, those things are expensive. So use code Aeolus in the Fortnite shop so I can go get a haircut. Anyways, though, regardless of all of that, today I wanted to talk about Thunder Thora because she is going to be either in the shop soon, maybe when you're watching this she is in the shop, or she was in the shop and you missed it, and in that case, my god bro, I am so sorry. You kind of missed out. You kind of missed out, because this is one of those heroes that you absolutely should have. You absolutely should get. She is phenomenal. So I decided today, let's review her a bit, let's talk about her, and discuss a little bit about why she is so fantastic. So without further ado, let's just hop into the hero loadout that I am using with her. Now, I must confess, normally this is not actually the hero loadout that I would be using. Typically, I use a hero loadout like this, where I have Mega Base Kyle as my commander, and I actually have Thunder Thora in the support team. I think this is the best spot for her to be, and I think this is, I have a whole video on this loadout. I have a whole video on why I think this is probably one of the best constructed loadouts. And in fact, I'll put that video like right here for you guys to see, or maybe it's right there. I don't know where I'm putting this video. I think right here. Maybe right, I don't know. Anyways, you probably can see it right now. And I'll put a link for that video in the description right down below. And you can click on that if you want to see this base build and why I think it is so powerful. And one of the major players in this build is obviously Thunder Thora. So that being said, I wanted to highlight her as a commander because obviously a hero is not a good hero if they can't be a fantastic commander by themselves. And if you didn't catch the sarcasm there, that was sarcasm. But Thunder Thora is still a great commander hero too. If I'm gonna build her out as a commander hero, it's basically the same thing as what I had just showed. All that is different is that I have Mega Base now in the support team and I have Thunder Thora as the commander. Now, real quickly, why Thunder Thora is so phenomenal, why she is a fantastic hero, is because of her perk and her electrified floors perk. I probably should have said this at the very beginning. I don't know why I didn't, but it's cool, you guys are going to get it now. The electrified floors, basically, they deal damage to a husk every single time they are walking over a floor that is attached to your base, that has that base covering thing. You know what it looks like. I don't need to explain it to you. But whenever a husk walks over one of those floors, it is going to be taking some damage. And when you have her as a commander, that damage is like tripled all the way up to 38.1 base energy damage that you're doing every 5 seconds to these husks whenever they are on your floor. And so this makes her a very powerful base-centric hero to be using if you're going to be focusing on that base ability, or I guess it's not really, maybe it's an ability, not a perk. I don't know what the base is anymore, but if you want to focus on using your base, this is a fantastic hero to have. Getting into the rest of the loadout that I am using with her, I'm using supercharged traps because, well, if you're a constructor and you're focusing on using your base, supercharged traps are a fantastic thing to have. Now, I did mention normally I have Mega Base as my commander. The reason I have Mega Base still in the support team when using Thunder Thora as the commander instead is because, well, you really want that extra base range. This is because those husks are walking on your base. The longer those husks are walking on the base, the more damage those husks are taking. So the bigger your base is, the more damage they're taking. Thus, Mega Base, you gotta have him. Fantastic hero to use. After that, I have the Ice King. He works very, very well with Thunder Thora. These two work so well together, and that's because husks that are standing on these pieces are going to be snared, or they're going to be slowed down by a little bit. This is great because remember, they're taking damage when they are on these pieces. So not only are they taking damage, but you're slowing those husks down so that way they are taking damage for longer. For that reason, I think if you're using Thunder Thora in a build, it is absolutely fantastic to have the Ice King in that build as well. And I really love him as a support hero. After that, I have Electropulse Penny because her perk is basically going to do even more damage to the husks now. This is whenever the husks are beating on one of your structures, they're going to be taking some of that damage back, in this case 15 base damage. This is great because if for some reason a husk didn't die on one of your floors, they make it to the wall. Well, whenever they do some damage to one of those walls, they're taking damage themselves. they're gonna die. If there was somebody that I would switch out, it would probably be her. You could switch her out for another hero that, say, increases the overall health of your structures or something like that. The main idea here is you want to slow these husks down. You want to keep them beating against walls because you want them to stay on those floors for as long as possible. After that, I have power modulation. Basically, this is where your structures are healed by 4% of their max health every 10 seconds. This works really well with Electro Pulse Penny. Then lastly, one of my favorite constructor base-centric abilities is Feel the Base. This is where you see that shockwave that deals the damage to all of those husks, and it does 39 base energy damage in a 3-tile radius. So this is another one of those perks that I absolutely love. That's the team. Gadgets or whatever, those are up to you. Let's talk a little bit about how to play Thunder Thora. Sorry, I needed some water because my voice was getting a little raspy. But yes, getting back into how to play Thunder Thora, I think it's important real quickly that I point out that I kind of vastly overpower these husks right now. If you look at this clip behind me, I'm like level 114, these husks are like level 64 or something like that. Basically, this is for demonstrative purposes only because I just wanted to highlight the incredible power of these floors. Obviously, if I'm playing against like level 100 husks or something like that, they'd be able to get to those walls, and they would probably be able to beat some of those walls down if I didn't have additional traps as well. But just for this demonstration, so you guys could see just how insane this base is, I didn't want to use any traps besides just a launcher or something like that, and thus all the damage that the husks are taking is going to be from my base ability, and you can see it is extremely effective. That being said, when you are using her, especially as a commander, if you're not using her in the support team, it's very important to know how far out your base is going. Again, this is because the husks are only going to be taking damage when they are on a floor piece that is affected by your base ability. So for this reason, I think Thunder Thora works really well in situations where maybe you have one main trap tunnel that all the husks are going through, or if you have something like what I'm doing right now, which is a retrieve the data mission, where you're just trying to defend an objective that is in a 1x1 space. So really you're able to extend the base out and kind of get the maximum amount of floor tiles around your base to get the maximum number of husks that you possibly could. Again, this is partly why normally I like Mega Base more so in the Commander and Thunder Thora in the support team, is because it is very important to have your base extending as far as possible, because again, and I'm trying to drill this in your heads, basically the longer the husks are on your floors, the more damage they are taking and the less damage that you yourself have to do to them with your weapons or traps or anything like that. Now, that being said, obviously there is more to Thunder Thora than just her base ability. I would argue her commander perk or her support team perk is really what makes her a phenomenal hero, but if you're using her as a commander, it's important to be aware of the other perks she has as well. And so to go through those perks, first off, she has Decoy, which I think is actually a fantastic perk to have, especially with Thunder Thora and those electrified floors. The reason? Well, because it is going to distract a bunch of these little husks and you can keep them on your floors for longer. With everything, the longer you have them on the floors, the more damage they take. You guys get it at this point, I've said it like 10 times. But with Decoy, you're able to take all these husky husks or these filler husks or whatever. You're able to basically concentrate them on some of your floor pieces, and then they're taking damage that entire time they're trying to beat down your Decoy. Meanwhile, you can go off and fight some mist monster or do something else. So absolutely love Decoy, not only because it's great for getting yourself out of a sticky situation where you have a lot of husks around you, but also because you can force husks to stay on your floors for longer. But talking about getting out of sticky situations, her second perk is Bull Rush, which is another perk that I really like on commanders. This is fantastic for when you get swarmed by a lot of husks. You're able to immediately just get out of that using Bull Rush, or one of the other instances Bull Rush is great, and I don't think it gets utilized all that often, is when you have a bunch of husks actually beating on one of your walls. You can actually line it up and you can push all of those husks off one of your walls at once. I don't see people use it all that often in this way, but I think it is a fantastic way to use Bull Rush, and I don't think it's an ability that should be totally looked over. The third ability is Plasma Pulse, which is not good. It's not good. It's no, some people like Plasma Pulse. I don't know any of them, and they're wrong. It always seems very underwhelming for me. I'm never very impressed with it. Usually the combo is you throw out a decoy, then you throw out your Plasma Pulse, so that way it kind of gets all the husks around the decoy. Anyways, Plasma Pulse, I don't ever use it all that often. I don't think it's a fantastic ability, so we're just not going to talk about that one anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, you guys. There you go. That is Thunder Thora. Do you need her? 100% absolutely. I would save up your gold and spend it on this hero because she is a very important hero to have if you are going to be using a constructor and you're going to be focusing on your base ability. Again, if you're doing like Twine Peaks SSDs, she is pretty much a must-have. I mean, pretty much all these guys are like must-haves in my opinion, but she is definitely up there with one of those constructors that you really want to take full advantage of. So I think you guys got the general idea. I'm a big fan of this hero. I really want to encourage you guys to get this hero as well, but I would love to hear your opinions as well if you guys like her. Maybe some of you guys are like, hey, there's this other hero I like way better. Let me know. Maybe I'll do a review on them and agree or disagree, because obviously this is the best constructor ever and you can't even disagree with that in any way, shape, or form, besides maybe some of those other ones. You know, anyway, I think we just need to call this a video. I'm getting tired. Oh man. So I hope you liked that. I hope you found that somewhat informative. Get Thunder Thora. But that's it for now. I'm Aeolus, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.